This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief. I'm Garrison Rifen here alongside my co-host Mikey. How are you doing tonight, Mikey?
What is up, Garrison? Sorry, I was a bit distracted. I was perusing my Masters of the Universe Denny's menu, just reminiscing about the wonderful meal I had, Eternia's premium breakfast slam. It was wonderful experience. I felt like I was in Eternia as I was eating it. It was mint chocolate chip ice cream and chocolate fudge on top of pancakes. Pro tip, don't add syrup for a better experience. So I put a little bit of syrup on there to test it out, and I was like, no, this isn't good. I finished it off without like a lot of syrup on there. It also comes with sausage links, bacon, eggs, and hash browns.
Wow.
So it is quite the slam. I was excited to be able to stop at a Denny's that's about an hour away from me on my way to my niece's graduation. There is no Denny's in Birmingham, like at all. And so I had to drive an hour, and it's on the way. It's not like I went off the beaten path to get to this Denny's. It's right off the highway as you're going up north. And I asked my waitress, I'd really like to pay for this part of the menu if you would let me. And she asked the manager, and the manager just told me to take it. And so I happily took that part of the menu. I know your dad is a collector of what I would call random ephemera. Yeah. And so it did me proud. I felt like I was representing your dad in a way by having random ephemera. Yes, it's not Star Wars, but it's got a picture of Nicholas Galantine on there and Jared Leto's Skeletor, and of course the big sword. So it's actually a pretty cool piece of ephemera, and it says the title of the movie at the top. So I probably need to wash my hands since I've touched the menu, because there's no telling how many people touched it before I did.
You can wash it. It's laminated.
I do probably need to take a good scrub to that thing. But yes, I actually am excited for Masters of the Universe. I keep hearing these positive reactions.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit excited for it.
From some more pretentious reviewers or people who don't usually like mainstream cinema.
Yeah.
Travis Knight is a guy who I have not seen his films, but Bumblebee is beloved, and it bombed. It is. He's had several animated films, right, that have been beloved.
Leica.
He's got one that's coming out soon.
Well, he's the founder of Leica.
Okay.
Yeah, his dad is the rich Nike guy, Phil Knight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
So he had daddy's money to help start the animation studio.
So apparently he makes good children's content, which is fantastic.
He really does. Yeah, no, he really does.
I'm excited for that movie. I'm not a He-Man guy. I didn't grow up with He-Man, really.
Yeah, of course not.
But when I hear reactions like that, it makes me really want to see it. I'm fearful that it will bomb, because how many people are really into He-Man nowadays?
Yeah.
Even after Kevin Smith's show on Netflix.
Right, which had some backlash. So the OG He-Man fan did not like aspects of Kevin Smith's
which is most of the fan
series.
Base, let's be honest.
Look, everything you can't, as we will probably talk about later in this episode, you cannot please everybody when it comes to IP genre filmmaking.
Yeah.
So
I get it. But we'll definitely get to that. The box office this weekend. I did want to talk about that since we're recording on a Sunday. We can cover the 5-day weekend, really. I'm going to cover sort of in between, not 5 days, 4 days.
Well, Thursday counts.
Yeah. Thursday is a part of the openers of this week, but not of the other films. So that's right. It's kind of weird how that works. But that's just an industry standard. Mando and Grogu is 102 over the 4-day, which is expectation. That is expectation met. Do you leg out? That's the big question for Mando and Grogu. And I don't know. We'll see. I think Disney will ultimately be happy if it breaks even because they're going to make some merch money and it's going to go to streaming eventually, and it's tied to a streaming show. So it's not. I don't think that they look. This may sound bad to some Star Wars fans, but I don't think they expected gangbusters results on this film.
No, I don't think they did at all.
Now, yeah,
but the budget was low. So
yeah, the budget's 165, and you can see it. Like, it absolutely looks like a cheap Star Wars film in some aspects.
In some aspects, I'd agree.
There are some things that look good, but we'll get to what looks good, what looks bad when we get to that section. Obsession is the big news of this weekend, though. Opens at 17 million. 3-day this weekend at 21, 22. 4-day projected 28.2.
That is insane. That just doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't happen for a wide release like ever.
Not really.
Usually the films that do that are like you're everything everywhere all at once. It's expanding. Yeah. And as it gets a bigger and bigger audience, more and more people go to see it. It legs out, does really well, goes up some weekends. Usually you see like a 1 or 2% drop. I think Top Gun Maverick had like a 1 or 2% drop.
Right.
Sinners may have had like a 3% up or something to it was close to being up, just like Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it was another one that did surprisingly well.
30% rise 3-day to 3-day.
That's awesome.
And then if you count the 4-day, I haven't even done the math for that, but it's an even bigger rise.
It's an even bigger rise. It's got a really good chance of hitting 100 million domestic.
Yeah,
like a really good. Absolutely insane. I'm really happy for Curry Barker.
Me too.
Now, will his sophomore release be as popular? Who knows? I just think that there's something about this movie.
I hope he takes in and appreciates this moment, because not every film's going to be like this. And not everyone who is going to see this film knows who Curry Barker is necessarily.
Right.
They are intrigued by the premise and the acting of the leads of the film. They're going to see it. They're enjoying it. I do hope he gains a fandom out of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that we need more younger directors to come in and start shaking things up. And when you've got guys like Curry, and Kreger's not as young as Curry, but Kreger's kind of on the younger side.
Right.
You've got a few Kane Parsons doing the back rooms this upcoming week.
That'll be big.
It could be a real movement in cinema. And where do they take it? Do they move the genre forward? And I'm fascinated to see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really interesting because you did have a new horror film that was coming out this weekend in Passenger, and I mean, Obsession just overtook it. I mean, it was a really, well, on paper, I'm guessing Passenger, they probably felt like it was a safe week to release the film, but I don't think anybody could have anticipated the positive word of mouth, which I kind of mentioned on last week's podcast as to why I didn't want to do any spoilers, because I just felt like word of mouth was like, you just felt this like buzz about this film. And it's kind of embarrassing for Passenger to, I think they got in the top 5 at least, but I mean,
they made 10.5 on a budget of 15. Worldwide, they've got about 13.5 so far.
So not bad. I mean,
there's a possibility because the thing with horror films, sometimes they don't spend a lot on ad spend.
Right.
Sometimes the budgets reported are all-in budgets. Long Legs was an all-in budget. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that in the case of Obsession, it's not an all-in budget, because we know that Focus bought it for 15, and they probably spent more on. They definitely spent more on advertising.
Oh, sure, they did. Yeah, definitely
in the millions, I'm sure. But they're making it back.
I mean, they're gonna. It's a profitable film, regardless. I mean, they're doing, and that's huge for Focus, because it did feel like a sub studio that was struggling a bit. As far as the indie studios owned by a big conglomerate, it did feel like it was struggling a bit. But I think this is huge for them.
Slap the head of Focus Features and Jason Blum real quick.
Don't put it out.
Move the PVOD date. Move the premium video on demand date. Don't make it June 2nd. That is so dumb.
It is dumb. I hope that they realize with this that they shouldn't do that, but we'll see. I mean, maybe they figure we've made the money that we want to make back on this.
Well, That's the thing about Blum, to divert real quick, is and other horror producers, is those films are cheap. Mm-hmm. He sells the international rights for most of the films and makes a profit before they hit theaters, and then whatever they make on opening weekend is gravy. And then horror movies have a tendency to just crater after the first weekend. Yeah. And so they're not used to this kind of success.
No, definitely. No, Focus definitely isn't.
I feel like in both cases, because Blumhouse doesn't get this kind of thing either all the time.
Not all the time.
I feel like in this case, this is a time where you should adjust your strategy and say, like, hey, okay, maybe we delay the PVOD.
Yeah,
give it a little more time in theaters.
It's stupid not to be agile with that type of thing. Like, be willing to, even though maybe months in advance you've said this is what our PVOD date's going to be. Like, be flexible. Like, change. Yeah. You don't have to stick with that. I mean, like you had lamented a couple weeks ago, Project Hail Mary, they didn't have to put it in PVOD like they did. I mean,
no. But they did delay it. They delayed it a week longer than they would have.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish it had been more, but Amazon's newer to the game.
Yeah.
They'll see what they want to see there and whether or not it was successful for them. Obviously, they've already made a ton of money on Project Hail Mary, and it opened big, so that was a helpful thing too. I do want to get into some of the other ones. Michael is at upper 700s right now worldwide, going to hit 800 soon.
I guess it's probably not going to get to my estimated 2 billion worldwide. Probably not going to get there.
It could.
It could, but it won't. It's not going to. Michael 2 was like kind of officially announced by the studio also.
Yeah, well, they said in the Deadline article pre-release that if it made 700 worldwide, they were going to do a sequel. Yep. And I mean,
it's there.
We talked about this in the episode. I'm not necessarily excited for a sequel, but I understand why you do. I mean, the demand is there.
Yeah.
So
now that we know that it's just going to be a milquetoast, like just go watch Michael Jackson songs in the theater concert type film, I'll go see it now. I mean, it's going to be low stakes. I don't think they're going to do anything controversial with it at all.
You don't think they'll touch on the allegations at all?
I don't think they want to. Now they know they don't even need to make tons of money. So I think it's just going to be, I'll be super surprised if they even bother, because like, why bother when you know you can make another 800 million worldwide? Now they have like sort of gone over the part of his career that is the most popular. So it will be interesting to see. There's still some songs out there, obviously, that are huge hits that they can touch on through this. But what will be more interesting to me, I think, is if they touch on the tragedy of his death and all the details behind that. I don't know what period of time we're going to be focusing on with the sequel. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, there are set photos out there of stuff that they filmed where he's on Neverland Ranch and his skin is lighter. And I'd be interested to see what they use from that footage and where they want to go from there. So
yeah, for sure.
I feel like you could touch upon the death for sure if you're getting that far along.
Yeah, if they go that far, yeah.
Devil Wears Prada 2 hit 600 million worldwide.
Good for them.
Fantastic. 200 million domestic. Yeah, that's a huge win for Disney. That was $100 million budget.
Yeah,
million worldwide.
It's crazy.
Sheep Detectives went down only like 8% or something this weekend.
Love
4-day it went up. Yes.
I think it's got some really good positive word of mouth as well. I mean, obviously not as big as Obsession, but I think it's the fact that it stuck around in the top, 5 or 6?
5.
The top 5, it's doing well.
Yeah. 6 was Passenger.
So Passenger didn't even get in the top 5? Holy cow.
Passenger was 6 at 10.5.
That's wild.
And they're not even releasing they're releasing 10.5. Some of the other estimates are a little more, they offer a little more numbers than Paramount's does. You've got Mortal Kombat hitting 8 million this weekend. It's not going to do what they want it to do there.
No, we don't need a third one. Please don't make a third one. Just let it be.
Super Mario Galaxy hit 980 on the crawl to $1 billion. Still got to make 20 million more to hit $1 billion. I think that they can do it because there's a few things that happen in the summer. First off, there are a bunch of these kids rerun like at my theater, they're replaying it during a kids series of movies.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about worldwide box office total. So I think you could eke 20 million out of that, but and maybe you've got to do like a special re-release to do it. But I don't begrudge them if they do that.
No, I mean, get to $1 billion. However you have to do it, get to $1 billion. Do a Super Mario Galaxy sing along. I mean, not that there's any songs in it.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a lot less singing in that one.
Yeah, there's a lot less singing in the second one, which is a bummer. But
yeah, rounding out the top 10, you got I Love Boosters at 8. If you were on Twitter at all, Boots Riley was like begging people to go see it. And he beat the projection at 4.5, but the movie cost 20 million. So
yeah, that's rough. It's a rough one.
I don't think it's going to have legs.
No,
but that's just my opinion.
No, it won't.
Project Hail Mary hit 10.
Still there. Still in the top 10.
Even on PVOD, it made 3.4 million this weekend. So
that's crazy.
Result.
That is crazy. That's so fun. That's great.
Well, off the shelf picks.
Yes.
Them, or do you have any other film stuff you want?
The only thing I did want to mention, just to for our more pretentious listeners, because I know there are a few out there, that Fjord won the Palme d'Or.
That's right.
Love seeing our friend Sebastian Stan. I was trying to think about it. I think that he has had the most success out of the MCU as far as like prestige films and stuff like that, and doing different types of roles. Like that guy has really done some fascinating films within the last like 10 years, even if you count, like if you look at his filmography for the last 10 years, he's to me one of the most successful in the terms of maybe not box office but acclaim out of the MCU. I mean, I can't think of anybody else. Robert Downey Jr. obviously won his first Oscar, but Sebastian Stan, I believe, was nominated a couple times. I mean, he's just had a good run. Yeah,
Sebastian Stan is definitely up there for the MCU actors, or main MCU actors. There have been some side characters here or there, quick side characters that have been done by some bigger people, but who has had just a great indie career on the side as well. Christian, he teamed up with Christian Mungiu, a Romanian director. If you know anything about Sebastian Stan, he is Romanian as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty under cool. the communist dictatorship government. I've heard him talk about it before. So I'm sure they bonded over being from the same country, and I guess it's a Romanian film, or
it is. Yeah, it's a Romanian film about a family that moves to Norway from Romania. I think it's Norway.
I think you're right.
Renata Rinset, she is playing, Norwegian in the film, but they live in Romania, and so they're moving back to her home country or whatever. And it's just about this family trying to adjust to a different way of life. They're used to a much smaller, calmer life in Romania. And things are quite different. I mean, because Norway is quite a westernized country, whereas I'm guessing Romania probably is not. And so it's just, I think it's just a family story about what happens when you have to move from someplace that is quite different to where you're moving to. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be cool to hear Sebastian speak his native tongue, because we get to hear a lot of that in the film, apparently. I'm just excited to continue to see his work, because he just, A Different Man was really a special film. And he's just had some great, unique films come out in the last 10 years. And I'm glad he's continuing to do that, not just do the easy, big budget stuff.
And on top of it, this was Neon's 7th in a row.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? 7 palms in a row is insane. That is insane. I mean,
and the funny thing is, like, some people are getting sick of it, but it's kind of like Neon doesn't campaign at Cannes.
No, they don't.
There's no campaign. There's a jury, and they go and watch the movies. Neon scouts the talent before they go to Cannes, or sometimes have seen things at Cannes. But most of the time lately, they've been scouting it before it goes and saying, "That's a great film. Let's buy it. Let's distribute it in America." They've just been smart with their picks.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen all of them. I mean,
No.
I don't see every single Palm winner just because some of them are often strange. I mean, I think the last couple of years have been sort of more normal films.
We've seen most of them. Neons have been Parasite, which was huge.
Yeah.
And then Titany, which
that's the one I didn't see.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. That's about the woman with the car.
Yeah, I didn't want to see that.
I think kind of reminiscent of Crash, if I'm not mistaken.
In some ways, I guess, yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen it. Triangle of Sadness, which we saw.
I did see that. Yep.
Anatomy of a Fall, which you've seen, and
that's a good movie.
Yeah, Anora, which
good movie,
won Best Picture.
Yep.
It was just an accident. I did not see.
I did see that. I finally saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
I finally did see that. Well after the Oscars, I went ahead and rented it, or maybe right around that time I rented it. Yeah.
But if you start a Letterboxd profile now, I think they have a Palme d'Or. And if you pay the $20 a year to get Pro, they have like a Palme d'Or thing that like next to the Oscars.
Okay. I need to look.
Little progress bar.
Yeah, I doubt I've seen even close. I mean,
yeah,
because there's been that award has been around a long time.
And and there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of weird films.
There's a lot of weird ones too. So
it's Europe.
It's Europe. It's France.
All right, off the shelf.
Off the shelf, yeah.
Speaking of foreign films, I chose Lone Wolf and Cub: Sword of Vengeance from 1972, a 84-minute film.
Yeah.
From Japan, an adaptation of a manga called Lone Wolf and Cub about an executioner for the shogunate. Which look, some of this started going over my head.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Rattling off all the dynamics of this shadow
machinations.
Organization. Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, I'm just gonna stick with it, and that's fine. You just need to kind of know the basics. He was a former executioner. One of the shadowy organizations wanted to take him out and kind of, I guess, install their own executioner. And he goes on the run with his son. His wife is killed in a flashback. There's a lot of flashing back and forth.
Yeah,
like the first 2/3 of the film.
Yeah.
And then we get kind of like the backstory and how he's gotten to where he's gotten and where he is heading at the end of the film, the hot springs. I really enjoyed it's very adult.
It is.
But I enjoyed the action in this. Right. It's a bit.
Oh yeah, I thought it was cool.
It's a bit unrealistic in some ways.
Yeah, it can get a bit cartoonish just because of the obvious fake blood. I mean, and
the very bright red fake blood.
Red. Yeah. I mean, and then some of the more insane, like splitting heads and stuff like that. I mean, and so some of the violence does get a bit cartoonish at times. But yeah, I mean, this is this particular genre I would just call like the samurai genre or even martial arts genre. It's not one that I fall back to often. I'm more used to like the more family friendly Jackie Chan type stuff. Maybe like after he came to America or whatever, than what this was. And there's another, I have an Arrow film that I watched that had some really graphic stuff in it as well, as far as sexual stuff. And it's just like, it just felt off, like being in the movie. I mean, it's just, it's really strange, uncomfortable at times. But I guess that's just what 70s in Japan was like when they were making those films. I don't know.
And I'm sure some of it was supposed to be uncomfortable in some ways.
Oh, sure. Of course. Yeah.
The scene with the lady he has relations with in the spa is not supposed to be comfortable.
Right. Exactly.
Due to them being forced to do it.
Right, exactly.
But, you've got the lady the most bizarre moment to me was really the lady who grabs the baby and starts breastfeeding his son because she thinks it's her son.
Yes.
And she's having like a mental breakdown.
And it's an older child too. It's not like it's not a real baby. It's like the kids,
like when
the kid's 2 or 3 or whatever.
He looks at the he looks at it.
Yeah.
And then he looks back at his dad like
it's really strange. It's all just there's some just weird stuff in it. But still you can definitely see from the fighting style, from the graphic nature of the kills, that a lot of modern filmmakers definitely got their inspiration from this. Tarantino, obviously, with Kill Bill, you can see a ton of that. Even like RZA, who does he does a lot of martial art films, and some of that stuff is very reminiscent of what all these lone wolf movies. I went ahead and watched a second one.
Oh, okay.
Because it was one of the shorts where the baby gets thrown is in a bassinet basically and gets thrown into water. That was cool. And there was a part of that one that had these three samurai that had these really big, I guess they're really big hats on, and it reminded me of Big Trouble in Little China. And so there's just like, I don't know, a lot of these filmmakers must have gotten some inspiration from all this stuff.
Japanese culture in general, samurai culture in general too, helped inspire a lot of things that led to Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's how you get
more Kurosawa than this type of stuff.
Yes,
though. Yeah,
absolutely. No, yeah, it's more Tarantino in terms of the bloodshed in this, but
right. Well, and then like we've mentioned, Filoni does love this whole Lone Wolf and Cub thing as well.
Yes, and so that's where you get the inspiration to make Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, there are some differences between those characters. This is an actual father and son.
Yes.
I'm not saying an adoptive son is not a son, but
biological
son.
Yeah, this is a biological son, exactly.
And this guy's lost his wife. And one of the bigger differences to me, in terms of Mando and Ogami, I think is his name.
The little kid's Ogami, or no, not the little kid, but the executioner's Ogami.
Yeah. The bigger difference between Din and Ogami to me is that Din is all about, even though sometimes he does break this, he's all about his code.
Yes.
Still, even in the movie, he's still about his code. Whereas when you get towards the end of this film, you realize that this guy's he's totally without the code at this point. He's just he
was forced in. Yeah, he had to be. Like, he had to be outside of his code of ethics. I mean, he had to just go all out, basically.
One of my favorite moments is when he rolls up at the end, and he rolls up with the cart.
Yes,
and he starts pulling out all the parts of the cart, and we find out that they're hidden knives and swords, even that he just starts throwing at all the villains that are trying to take out this town.
I also loved that part, just because it oddly reminded me of Wyatt Earp in the sense that Wyatt Earp at one point puts like a metal thing underneath his Western wear or whatever as a shield. So in Lone Wolf and Cub, he uses the bottom of the cart as a shield to block bullets. And I thought that was a cool
bulletproof part. Bottom of the cart.
Yeah, exactly.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it was great because the cart itself, the whole time we're thinking, oh, this is just like a wooden rickety cart that he's keeping Cub in. And the fact that he, like you said, uses it almost as just a way to hide weaponry and ends up using it as a shield when that one guy, the only guy with the gun in the whole film, he uses that as a shield. So I mean, it's a simple story, but I think that it played really well.
Well, when you watch it, first off, it's a manga, so it's a long running story technically. But when you watch this, you kind of go, I can understand how they took this and then made a bunch of stuff out of it.
Oh yeah.
You could have him going all over the place before he ever, finally wants to rest and whatever form that would be, whether he dies nobly or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so much there that you could do with the character, which I think is a lot of fun. It reminds me of Mando and Grogu, where you feel like you could have him going just weekly from place to place, just taking out a bunch of thugs.
Yeah, because he's a mercenary for hire, just like Lone Wolf is an assassin for hire.
Yeah.
And I mean, by the end of it, and that's why if you can continue to watch their shorter stories of these two characters, and the kid grows up too. So they do have, where you do get to see the kid grow up. I didn't watch all of them. I only watched one extra one. But they don't get any less violent. And the violent gets more unique. Even in the one that I watched, the second one that I watched, there was some even more unique violence just because the bad guys had like claws and different stuff that, like I said, reminded me of Big Trouble in Little China.
this is a big cultural thing for them, Lone Wolf and Cub.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look it up, it's really fascinating because they made a series of movies, 6 movies from 72 to 74.
Yeah.
4 of them came out in 72, which means they shot them probably back to back to back.
Concurrently, yeah, something like that,
yeah. With the same cast, I'm sure.
Yeah.
At least with the principal actors.
Right.
And then at the same time, a show ran from like 73 to 76.
Oh, wow.
Adapting the same manga.
Okay, interesting.
Probably, I would imagine that's a little slower paced.
Yeah, they took their time probably a little bit more with that.
And probably less violence because it's television.
Possibly.
But, I don't know the Japanese television.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows what kind of things you can put on Japanese television? I don't know.
But I know they put weird things on there, but I don't know about
violence.
They do.
Yeah.
But in the 90s, someone did a reboot movie, which I actually want to check out too. On top of this, before we get back to the film itself, where they decided to focus more on the familial aspect, and it was a lot less violent of a film.
Interesting.
And I'm sure when you have a text like the manga, which I've never read, but my dad has actually read part of.
Oh.
There's probably a lot more of those slower moments where there's character building and development, whereas this movie jumps into the action.
Yeah, it's right away. Exactly.
Yeah. And I appreciated that, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fun. It's 84 minutes. It's a breeze. It's kind of a classic samurai story, though, where people are in danger in this village. He goes to the village and liberates the people.
Right. And classic also in the sense that a lot of the villains, the different henchmen, have really unique personalities, too. They're sort of like, and they make them all like they had the sort of shaggy looking guy with the crazy hair. And then they had, the boss who was, the one with the gun or whatever. And so they all had like these different archetypes about them that made it, I don't know, it's just a fun watch. I mean, you can tell that it was adapted from a manga, though, just because manga a lot of times likes to have outlandish like characters and stuff like that. And so they adapted that well, in other words. I think I enjoyed most of the film. I could have done without some of the weirdness. But as far as just the action sequences and the way the last 20 minutes are awesome. Just that whole fight in the village is really great stuff.
Knife thrower gets the comeuppance and he gets a sword thrown into him. Yes. That's an awesome moment.
Yeah, there's some great stuff. And I think there was one part where the guy was surprised that maybe that was the second thing that I saw. There was a line where they were surprised that he threw his samurai sword. I can't remember if that was in the movie or if I
don't think so, but
okay. Yeah, there was a moment in the second one where he throws his samurai sword and the villain's like, I can't believe you threw your samurai sword or something like that. Just because it's uncommon to see a shogun warrior throw his, samurai sword like that.
But he's got a lot of weapons on him that you don't know about too.
Dude, he's almost like Batman with all the different weaponry he has like secretly hidden.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you buy the Criterion edition.
Oh yeah, I want to see that.
It's actually got a hidden compartment that
that's cool.
A little diagram
look at that.
The cart in the different hidden departments.
Oh, that's very cool. I love that.
There's a neat little Easter egg for you.
And the way that they folded that, I'm obviously seeing it in the audience just to describe the way they folded it. It looks like if you picture one of those Japanese fans.
Yeah, which is in the movie.
How you can fold it. The way that the Criterion guys folded it, it looks like one of those Japanese fans. So it's pretty cool. That's awesome. I love anytime. That's why you buy physical media, people, because the packaging can sometimes do unique things like that. It's great.
I'm sure there are plenty of people who have bought this and never even noticed that thing exists.
Oh, the secret compartment. That's good stuff. I mean, because that harkens to the film.
It's literally flush. I mean, you can't tell that it's there.
Yeah.
You have to know that. I knew that because I went to Blu-ray.com forums years ago.
Yeah, and saw that. That's so cool.
Saw that. But yeah, it's a neat
and
little
that's
aspect.
That's just a great Easter egg of the cart itself because it had all the little secret compartments in it and stuff. So well done. Slow golf clap there, Criterion. Good job on that packaging. I love to see that.
And it works with the little paper packaging they do instead of the plastic. So
yeah, they'll do that every once in a while, depending on the film. They'll do the paper packaging instead of the plastic case, which, some people do get annoyed by different packaging like that because it messes up their shelf. But I don't care. I'm not.
I will say sometimes, not to divert too much, but sometimes they will put out an edition and it's in the digipack or whatever they call that thing, paper version. And then I've been to Barnes and Noble before and found those same things that were in a digipack in like a translucent clear case eventually. So sometimes
I wonder if that's a second pressing, maybe.
Yeah, or a much later pressing. Or it was like it was Princess Bride. It used to be in that book form, and I think it still largely is. But you can find some versions of it that are in a plastic case at Barnes and Nobles.
How strange! That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, more often than not, the only time I ever see differences is some of them will have a slipcover, like Time Bandits. If you buy the 4K, if you got first pressing for Criterion, it had a slipcover, but I think later on you're not going to see the slipcover on it, so it just depends on the pressing. Well, I think this was a great pick for companion to Mando and Grogu. I can't say that my pick is for this week is in comparison to Backrooms at all, which I'm guessing Backrooms is probably going to be the film that we are focusing on next week. But I was going to go back to Arrow, and I think it's time to move forward. I'll watch the movie just for if you want to watch this movie. I oddly have never seen Flash Gordon, so I am going to watch that on the side, but that is not my off the shelf pick.
Oh, okay.
Because that's an Arrow edition. I want to move forward. We're out of Arrow. We're done with Arrow. We're moving forward to.
If you wanted to, though.
No.
I do have the Arrow version.
Well, that's another thing. I'm tired of assigning films that I know aren't available on a streaming service, and Flash Gordon is not available on a streaming service. So luckily, moving forward, I've got one movie. I've only got two of this particular boutique label, which is a sub-label of Vinegar Syndrome called Cinematograph.
Okay.
It's more like American films, sort of, I would venture to say like crime-related type films or modern noir. And so we're going to do a film called At Close Range with Sean Penn and Christopher Walken. Came out in 1986, I believe, directed by James Foley. The only other big thing that James Foley ever directed that was actually good was Glengarry Glen Ross. He was the director of that. Although most people,
a stage play. So
yeah, most people equate that movie more with David Mamet because it was based upon. Most people totally forget that James Foley directed that movie. But this one was prior to that, and it's got a great cast. I'm excited about it. It takes place in the 70s. So even though it was, directed in the 80s, takes place in the 70s. It's based on a true crime. So that there's a lot of true crime people out there. Love that type of thing. So look this one up. It is on Amazon Prime, I believe. And if you don't have Amazon Prime, I think it's even on Tubi. So if you don't mind watching commercials, if you don't have Amazon Prime, then At Close Range is what we're going to dive into next week.
Three-time Oscar winner Sean Penn.
Now, yes, three-time Oscar winner Sean Penn. Christopher Walken, one-time Oscar winner for Deer Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah. But then it's got, if you look at the cast, it's got a lot of recognizable, like down the line cast members in much smaller roles. Obviously, I've never seen the film, but I am excited to watch it because I think Sean Penn was doing, in my opinion, doing his best work in the 80s because he was a young guy, very driven to do well. He almost reminded me a lot of like Timothy Chalamet. Like he wanted to be the next guy. And a lot of his work in the 80s really reflected that. Even Spicoli.
That's a movie I haven't seen. It's on my shelf.
Oh, well, we'll get to that eventually, I'm guessing. So the good news is, since this is my only cinematograph, we're going to Criterion after this for me. So awesome. I have got some weird stuff that I own that I have never seen in my Criterion collection. So I'm excited to get to that point. Some may be not popular, but I am committed to watching all of my stuff that I've never seen before. That's the whole point of this. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a way to actually have an excuse to watch the stuff that we buy, which is a problem.
It is a huge problem. I even swore that I would stop doing that, and yet I continue to do it because I bought Flash Gordon because it was on sale.
I'm trying to slow down. I think I have slowed down, but still there are sets I bought, like the Jackie Chan set, which is going to add some things.
Well, I mean, I'll still buy stuff, but I'm really trying to just buy stuff, like upgrade stuff, and buy stuff that I've already seen. I'm really trying to do that. But it is what it is. Like I bought, because Barnes and Noble was having a Memorial Day sale this weekend.
Yeah.
So I got Man in the Iron Mask, the Leonardo DiCaprio. I know that has been a movie made a lot, but it's associated with the Three Musketeers, and that's a thing that I like a lot, is the association with the Three Musketeers. So
yeah,
I like, and that Leo DiCaprio one's actually a really good movie. So I was glad I had the DVD of that. So this was a double upgrade. This was DVD straight to 4K. So it was a good upgrade. I was glad to buy it.
I know you're saying you wish that Lester had done a Man in the Iron Mask.
That would have been awesome if he had done one.
I mean, you cover almost everything at that point too, which is great.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
because doesn't Man in the Iron Mask, isn't that like technically when the Musketeers are older and like almost retired? As far as timeline
I've never
concerned.
actually read or seen it, so
yeah. But
I'm not
there's a remastered 70s version coming out soon on one of the boutique labels. I can't remember which one is doing it. That I think I told you about. But this was the one from the 90s that was pretty good. I liked this version. So
that's awesome.
Yes, let's dive in.
Talk about the new Star Wars movie.
Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yes. So, do you want to start? I'll let you.
I'll start. I mean, okay. So I've watched so many podcasts talking about this movie already. Really just a couple. Well, and when I say watched, I watched one of them, listened to the other one, because the other one doesn't do video like us. So they're still a traditional podcast. And like what the genre is supposed to be. I've come around on it where I don't think I'm going to see it again. But I enjoyed it enough where I don't feel like it does any good to necessarily nitpick the film to death.
Yeah.
Because I think, like you alluded to at the beginning of the episode, Disney knew exactly what this was. And this was probably, from all the interviews that Favreau has done, what I gather is that these were scripts that were written for a television show, a season 4 of The Mandalorian, that somebody, I don't know if it was Iger or Kennedy or whomever, said, look, we need a movie before Starfighter comes out. You've got 2 years to make this happen. So they probably had the plan of Starfighter, and they wanted something in between, because it had been 7 years since Rise of Skywalker. So they needed something in cinemas. I get it. So the good news for Disney is the budget was lower than, gosh, even Solo, which was a ridiculous like $300 million budget.
Yeah, Solo is an anomaly there.
It is a strange anomaly. And so they release what is essentially a standalone story. Even within the Mandalorian verse, it's a standalone story, because it's basically just, here's some Imperial warlords that the Republic, or I guess the New Republic in this case, needs you to go hunt down. And we'll give you baseball card pictures of them and go hunt them down. And that's all the movie is. There's not any like great character development.
No.
There's not I won't say that the performance of the Mandalorian was completely phoned in. I mean, you've got essentially, I'll say it, you've got essentially 3 different actors playing this character in the same movie. You've got Lateef.
I mean, they're billed top 3
Yeah.
too.
They're built in, they're in there. Yeah, which was great. I think that's fair because you've got Lateef Crowder who does what I would say most of the stunt work. He's the guy when you're seeing all the really great action sequences that are at the beginning of the film, when the AT-AT battle scenes and stuff inside the AT-AT is all Lateef Crowder. The anytime you see the Mandalorian doing stunt work moving really fast, that's Lateef Crowder. Then you've got Brendan Wayne, who is the grandchild of John Wayne. If you guys didn't know that, he does more of like the looking cool walking scenes. Like he just has a vibe about him, and
he looks like a cowboy.
He looks like a cowboy when he walks, and so anytime you see Mandalorian sort of just doing that walk, that's probably Brendan Wayne. I would venture to say that Pedro may have only been in the suit for that one scene that you see his face after they take the helmet off. I doubt
he's a busy guy.
I doubt that he was really on set that often. Now, say what you will about that. He's the face of the film just because for marketing purposes, you can send him out there and, do all the interviews and Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder don't get any credit other than in the film itself, which is probably the most important to them. They actually get billing.
Yeah, I love seeing that they were the top 3. It was, it
was
Pedro first, but then it was Wayne, and then it was Lateef.
Yeah. So I have some frustration with the movie just because I would have loved to have seen it be more epic. It didn't feel like when you have even the sequel trilogy did this well. When you have a Star Wars movie in film in theaters, it needs to feel epic. And this honestly just did not feel very epic. So much so that, to me, in my opinion, like, you need to hire a name for the main warlord. Don't hire some dude that nobody has ever seen in their lives as the main bad guy in the film. Yes, the main bad guys are, in the end, the two Hutts or whatever, the Hutt twins. But as far as like a human bad guy, it was this Imperial warlord. Just go out there and hire somebody that's recognizable. Like, expand your budget a little bit and hire a name.
Yeah.
It's a bit frustrating to me because it just goes to show how little that Disney cared to not even bother to hire. So like even Solo had Paul Bettany. I mean, and he's he's a guy that people recognize when you see him on screen. Like they couldn't even bother to hire some. It was just, that does frustrate me a little bit because it just shows to me that Disney knew what they were putting in cinemas, and that yes, little kids are going to love it just because it's got some great action sequences. I personally liked the score. I think some people are complaining that it doesn't sound close enough to a traditional Star Wars score, but I think that it fits the Mandoverse. And it worked well for me. I think Ludwig Göransson did great work with this score just because it's very unique to this film.
I think it fits the planets that they're on. I have some quibbles with it here or there, but overall I liked it.
Yeah, they had like the Chicago town or whatever, or the city or whatever. Yeah. And then my last thing is, I love anytime an original trilogy guy gets some flowers, and so they gave some really cool stop motion scenes to Phil Tippett, who did work on the original trilogy. So as an OT fan, I loved all that stop motion stuff with the robots and with the Anzellans. I thought that it was really great looking stuff. And I loved seeing John Knoll's name as the supervising visual guy. Like, he's still out there doing really great work. I mean, because you could definitely tell that the budget was lower, but I don't think that the effects and the CG were lacking in any way. I thought it all looked really good. I mean, I'm glad that what could have been easily on Disney Plus was put in the theater, because it is a fun time. But it's not going to win any awards as far as the screenplay or anything like that.
Yeah. So my thoughts, I thought I'll go with some positives first.
Yeah. I mixed all mine in.
Yeah. I thought Grogu and the Anzellans were adorable.
Yeah, they were great.
They were great. Anytime that they were up to hijinks on screen. It was awesome. I always love the Anzellans. They're some of my favorite characters since they first appeared in Rise of Skywalker.
Totally
and I like their cameos in season 3. My problem with this movie overall is the TV pacing of it, because when you're sitting there watching it in the theater, it feels like about 3 or 4 episodes of TV stitched together. And I don't mean that because of the cutoff points, which a lot of people have pointed out, which exist in there. But it's really just like the slowness of the film at times, where it will screech to a halt. And I really think, and I'm being serious here, and some people may disagree with this, I think if this premiered as 3 or 4 episodes of a new season on Disney Plus, people would like this even more. They would like this more.
I agree. I agree.
They would like this more than some of the stuff in season 3.
I agree. Totally agree.
Because I think it's decent television stuff, but there is kind of an expectation when you go to theatrical that there should be a step up, a level up, and in some ways I think there are some CGI level up here or there that maybe didn't exist on the show, but there's a little more CGI than normal. My issue with the CGI is really Rhoda when he's out in the sunlight.
I didn't see. I wasn't paying attention close enough to catch. Yeah, because I did not like that character lost me when he opened his mouth. I mean, because that was some of the worst voiceover that I think I've ever heard.
It's weird because I know what they're doing. They're saying, well, he didn't grow up with the Hutts, so he learned Galactic Basic in the universe.
Well, no, I don't even have a problem with that. I just think that the voiceover was bad. I just think Jeremy Allen White, what they did to his voice, obviously they changed his voice after he delivered the lines or whatever with whatever they do, and it just didn't sound good. I mean, so I didn't care for that character.
The acting in the beginning of the movie from the bad guy, I thought was really hammy and cheesy, and did not work for me well, unfortunately. But there are aspects of the fight scenes that I really liked at the beginning, and even going into Jabba's, or not Jabba's, but the Nal Hutta fortress.
What was the was Andor season 2 the last thing that we saw, or was there something in between?
You mean in terms of Star Wars?
Yeah, in terms of Star Wars.
There's Maul cartoon.
Well, I'm talking live action. Live action.
Then probably yes. Yeah.
So, and what they did with Andor season 2 is made the Imperials seem really menacing, like super menacing, and they did not seem menacing at all in this. Like you said, they're very cartoonish. And
well, there's only one of them that seemed like an actual Imperial too. The rest kind of seemed like they were
warlord, just
going along with it.
Like in that round table at the beginning, and even the guy that ends up being the main Imperial warlord in the second and third act, he's just so like, I don't know. I was not necessarily in love. That's the guy that I would have wanted to see somebody with a recognizable face as an actor cast in that film,
like a Werner Herzog, to
just give your audience the expectation of, oh, hey, this guy's evil. Like, even if they, I don't know, it's just somebody recognizable as a bad guy would have been nice.
And Werner is not necessarily as recognizable as maybe you're talking.
No, that's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying somebody even more recognizable, like a Paul Bettany, somebody that people like, oh, I've seen him in stuff before.
But also somebody who can have the gravitas of what I mean by Werner is in season 1 when you're watching him, you're like, oh man, this guy is menacing.
He's menacing,
and then I just did not feel that with the coins, whatever his name is.
Yeah. And maybe, look, I don't know the guy, but maybe there's some people out there that are like, oh, he's in some show that I watched. I'm like, I've never, I watch a lot of stuff. I've never seen that guy in my life. So I don't know who he is.
I didn't look him up afterwards either, but
maybe he's buddies with Favreau, and Favreau was, I have no idea. It was such weird casting to me.
How did you feel about Filoni's cameos?
I mean, par for the course. I mean, he wasn't the only one that had cameos. Deborah Chow was there, and I think one of the visual effects artist guys, or I can't remember his name off the top of my head. There was a lot of cameos. I get it, but only not cameos that are recognizable enough to the Gen Pop. Only recognizable to maybe like Star Wars people that pay way too close attention to some of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, and I will say that the CG that I thought worked well was Zeb. I think they did a good job with him. I think they did a good job with that character.
To me, it looked like it did on the TV show. Fine.
Maybe stepped up a little bit because he did have that one action sequence in the hallway.
Yeah.
And so
I've seen a lot of complaints about Zeb being in this film. And on the one hand, I can kind of understand somebody saying, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Well,
sure. No, if you didn't watch Rebels, you wouldn't know who the heck he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we get to know him a tiny bit in the show, but you don't need to see the show to see the movie, really, for the most part. But I don't know. I just he's so inconsequential. I don't know why people really worry. Ultimately,
it's not often for me, and this is what I'm not. I won't say like I'm angry or whatever, but I am frustrated that I don't want to go see it again. Like that's a first for me as far as Star Wars is concerned, where I'm not jazzed enough about a Star Wars film to want to go see it again. I think I even went and saw Solo like 2 or 3 times. I saw the sequel trilogy films at least twice each, if not more, on Force Awakens. And Rogue One, I know I've seen several times because Rogue One had a re-release at some point that I went and saw. And so it's just like one of those things where this is not the type of movie. And that's one thing. If a Star Wars film never gets a re-release in cinemas, Disney knows it's not good. They've never re-released Solo. I don't think that we're going to get. They missed the 10-year anniversary of Force Awakens and didn't re-release that.
So I will say that in early 2020s, it was one of the things that they would send around, like Empire and stuff like that. So they allowed it to be played on cinema screens.
Oh, like if you did that during the pandemic or whatever. Yes. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's
so it was available, and we did it.
Okay.
And I saw it in 2020 in a private screening. And it just hit me because, not that I need to go in this too hard, but
no, you're good.
Watching Force Awakens is so kind of sad for me because I still enjoy that movie. When I watched it, I'm like, this is promising start.
Because it was exactly. It was a promising start for things to come. And ultimately the trilogy didn't necessarily land in the best way, but anyways, back to my point. I don't think that Mando and Grogu is ever going to get re-released. Like, it's not going to be a film that Disney cares enough to re-release, I don't think. And I don't think people would go see a re-release of this. I mean, it's just, it's going to be a one and done thing. Yes, they'll probably at least release it on physical media for us to buy later on and add to our collections. Which or season 2, please. I'd like to own that.
We start banging down Sony's door. Say, hey,
I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, like Sony controls the distribution now.
I know, and it's disappointing. But it's just I'm not like I was gonna go try and see, because I saw it out of town, not in IMAX. I saw it in 4DX, which was an interesting experience. I'm not saying that I will never do a 4DX again, but I did not enjoy 4DX. And if you don't know what that is the seats shake and stuff when there's action sequences.
D-Box and 4DX are very similar. They both do the motion simulator seats, although I think 4DX has the effects like where water and stuff can spray on you, which you can turn off as well. But D-Box, I think, doesn't have those effects. It just has the shaking.
4DX doesn't have those effects either. It's just the shaking. At least at the theater, I went to a Cinemark, and the 4DX that we have in Huntsville did not have any spraying water, or it was just shaking seats.
Okay. The one I went to in Jacksonville did. And I know that because we went to see Far From Home on there, and I didn't care for it. I'll be honest. Maybe a Godzilla film,
I didn't like it.
Maybe a Godzilla film or something I would be enjoyable to do on that kind of thing. But ultimately, like, I just found, because I watched Far From Home at first at our home theater, And then we got invited to come down to the 40X to see it at the time in 2019.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so distracting from the movie.
Yeah, it was. I even asked the guy next to me, I was like, is there a way to turn this off? And he was like, no, you can just turn it down. And I was like, okay, well, I turned it to the lowest possible thing that I could turn it down to, but your seats will still shake or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool during action scenes, but when it's like not really an action scene and you kind of want to pay attention and it's still rumbling and doing stuff, it's like, okay.
All that being said, I usually would try and go see it in IMAX, but I just don't care enough to go see it in IMAX. I'm just not going to do it. I mean,
there's no real, I know it opens up, but to me, there's no real benefit to doing that.
Well, no, and especially when the movie's not that great. I mean, I liked aspects of the movie. I'm not going to say that it's a bad film. There are many that are saying that, and there are many people that are quite upset about the quality of the film from a storytelling standpoint. I think from a technical standpoint, it's fine. And there are some cool, unique things. Like I mentioned, the stop motion stuff looks great. I think the CG is a step up from what you would see on Disney Plus. I think the score, I enjoyed it. I know some people don't love the score, but I really enjoyed the score. I think that some of the acting is a bit wooden, and the screenplay itself was a bit of a bore. Yep. But I mean, I ended up giving it 3.5 out of 5. Maybe that's a half point too high, but I mean,
I give it a 3 out of 5. I do think if this were on television, I'd feel more like 3.5, 4.
Yeah. It's
it's just a different medium. The expectations are different, and we can do more character stuff. And the Grogu sequence is brutal. That's maybe the worst part pacing wise of the movie.
Yes.
And
in the bayou,
if you were to have that cut up between episodes, and you have him, exploring everything at the beginning of a next episode or something, I think that could be cute and fun. But when you're sitting in a movie theater wanting to watch your action movie, and this is what you're getting, it's not. I think
the lack of additional characters from the television show also was a bit surprising on my part. Like they could have thrown in a Bill Burr as one of the people that comes to try and rescue Din or something like that. Or even thrown in
I feel like if Carl Weathers were still alive, he probably would have been.
He probably would have been in it. You're right.
But otherwise, I mean, why don't you get the lady, that ship lady involved?
Pelimato or whatever her name is. Like, throw us some additional cameos so it doesn't feel so apart from the series and so standalone. Like, these are characters that you introduced on television. You have to recognize that and throw us some cameos from the television show itself. I mean, thankfully, no Jack Black and Lizzo, but still, I mean,
again, you cut these up into 4 episodes, 3 episodes. I think you're talking about these being better than a good start to season 4.
Right. There wasn't any really stupid stuff like there was in season 3 of Mandalorian. Like, cause the whole Jack Black and Lizzo stuff,
Jeremy Allen White's voice, but
which was so strange to me. I'm just like, I just don't understand what we're doing here with the way that they changed his voice up. I don't know. I'm disappointed, but it's not a bad movie, but I am disappointed. Like, I wanted it to feel a bit more epic than it did. Luckily for them, the budget's low, and I think in this opening weekend, if you look at worldwide, it's probably going to make back its budget. I mean,
as long as it has decent legs. That's the big thing.
I think it will. I mean, it's got at least a week before Masters of the Universe comes out, which is another genre film. So it's got another week where it'll probably do pretty well. I mean, it's the first full week of summer.
Be interesting to see how Backrooms does. I don't think Backrooms is necessarily stealing stuff from it.
Crossover there,
But if Mando and Grogu doesn't have good legs, it will be below Backrooms.
That's true. That's true.
Backrooms can open, I think, higher than people realize.
Yeah, and it's one of these things that, like, 2 weeks ago, I was excited about the prospect of us doing a roundtable about this movie, but I just don't feel compelled the movie doesn't need a roundtable.
And to be honest, one of the people we want on the roundtable, he's kind of busy, so
yeah, he wasn't really available.
We'd love to have them all there. Be there.
We want, if we're going to do a roundtable, we want the whole roundtable crew that you remember from the old extra shows when we would do those. And I don't know how long I could go on them talking about a movie like this. This is about as how long I could go. I mean, there's just nothing to it. There's no stakes. There's no character development. There's
I totally get it.
Not much to it. So I know certain people that are in our Discord were kind of excited about the prospect of the roundtable coming back, but we will bring it back this year.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming
at some point. Yeah. Not for the Mandalorian and Grogu. And look, I know people there's certain people that have really enjoyed this movie. And that's great. I'm really happy for anybody that really enjoyed this movie. I think it's mid-tier Star Wars though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's towards the bottom. There are films I don't know. I'm not ranking them. I don't feel like ranking them. But yeah, it's not anything fantastic. And unfortunately, I think the part of the problem is when you announce a Mandalorian movie, first up, yes, you should take a step up in terms of just the scope and everything, which they didn't really do. But also when you have been teasing this giant crossover movie at the same time, which does sound like a step up and an epic thing, who knows if we ever get to that point.
Right.
I don't think we're really making any progress there. And then you come up with something like this. It's kind of like, why did we do this and not just work towards that giant epic crossover movie that you were working towards?
Yeah. I mean, I think that they are really hoping that Starfighter is going to be something special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Sean Levy, the opportunity for that is there with him as the director and Ryan Gosling as the star.
I've never seen such a disproportionate online, because that's an online echo chamber anyway, but a disproportionate amount of people that hate on a guy who I think is just a solid journeyman director.
I think he's good. Yeah, I think that he's delivered movies.
He's a studio guy who comes in, he delivers what's on the page and does it okay.
But also he has the ability to inject a lot of heart into
pathos
movies that you wouldn't think would be there. And so that's why I think that the opportunity, at least on paper, is there for Starfighter to be something special. And if they want to have a jumping off point into a new era of Star Wars, that could be the movie that does it, rather than this new Jedi Order thing that they keep talking about. I think that the opportunity...
that's kind of dead in the water, so...
Well, we'll see. I mean, there's weird rumors about Starfighter and things that could be in it, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what they do with it. I just think the opportunity is there, and that they, for whatever reason, felt like they needed something in between Rise of Skywalker and Starfighter in theaters, and that's why they gave us this. And it didn't cost them much money, so it's low stakes for them.
The reason why they did that, just to be blunt, is because they had nothing for the last 7 years.
Yeah,
that's an embarrassing thing. And when you have all these projects that go into not into production, but into pre-production, and then nothing happens
at the very least. Yeah, exactly.
That was kind of the ending legacy of Kennedy. And it's funny because I see a lot of people shifting the blame of this film onto Filoni. Filoni's a creative guy on this film, but she greenlit this film.
She did. She greenlit it, and so did Iger. I mean, it's not. I mean, Iger gave the blessing to have this movie come out. So that was that was Kennedy and Iger's last vestige. Was this movie, and so that should tell you all you need to know about Kennedy and Iger.
All in on the streaming.
Yeah, exactly.
And in some ways it was good, especially at first. But you can't totally abandon the theatrical side, and that's what they did.
And I'm not bowing at the feet of Filoni, but I don't think this is on him totally. Yes, he was creatively involved in the film with Favreau, but I don't think that them turning it into, maybe it was supposed to be part of season 4. We don't know. We'll never get the true story on that, probably. But just certain things that Favreau has said in a lot of these interviews that he's been doing in the lead up to this movie leads me to believe that he was surprised that this ended up being a theatrical release.
Yeah.
In a way. But I mean, once you commit to it, you got to go for it. And they just didn't quite deliver what has been the expectation for what a Star Wars film has been. So we'll see. I mean, Starfighter can only be better than this, I would hope. I would really hope that Starfighter's better than this.
Yeah, no, I do too, and I have high hopes for Starfighter. Ryan is Gosling is he's a talent who is very involved in the stories that get told on screen,
and he's pretty much at the pinnacle right now of his career.
He's had misses in the past, but his most recent blockbusters, even the ones that haven't done well financially, I think have all been pretty solid movies.
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, Project Hail Mary is the big movie this year, and he can propel that off into doing another space movie next year in Starfighter. It's shot by Claudia Miranda, the DP of Top Gun Maverick. So yeah, I have some decent expectations of how the movie is going to look,
as do I,
and the story itself. So I'm excited.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Well, Backrooms is going to be our theatrical focus next week, right?
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of buzz around that. Another YouTuber, right?
Kane Parsons. He's 20 years old. I believe he signed on to do this at 18, and he directed it at 19, and now he's releasing it at 20. He did the YouTube stuff at like 15 or 16, using Blender, which, if you don't know what Blender is, it's just a way to create CG animation. It's a tool to use. He created the whole series in CG on YouTube and back in the day, and now he's getting to do a live action movie of this kind of creepy pasta, I guess you'd call it, that he turned into a YouTube series that now is a movie starring
Liminal Spaces.
Yes, a movie starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and
got a great cast.
Renata Reinsve. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean it's a
and
phenomenal cast
if you're familiar with the show Shrinking, the daughter that's in Shrinking, that is the main guy's daughter, she's in this movie as well. So it's got a good cast. I think I feel like
in the trailers I only see the Chiwetel and Renata.
Well, and then there's that couple too that's in the front of the store.
There's a group that goes with Chiwetel into the back rooms, and I don't really see their faces because it's on grainy camera.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's not like the whole creepypasta thing is not generally my vibe of horror film, but I am looking forward to this. I've got my ticket already, so I'm going to go.
The thing about the creepy pasta thing, they're just usually short stories. And some short stories, like even in the past that were written by, famous authors, some have the potential to be turned into feature-length films that you can make a horror movie out of, and some aren't. And unfortunately, people have definitely reached on some of them and done, like Slenderman movies and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I'm excited for this one. I've read between the lines on some of the reviews where there are some kind of like, this is a nice first effort kind of thing. So I'm not expecting Obsession level quality on a first try, but I'm excited.
I just think Obsession works so well just because it was just so surprisingly good, an unknown cast. I mean, it had all the exact right things at the exact right moment. Yeah. And it's just hit this cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah. It's funny because it is an unknown cast, but then you kind of like look around online and you're like, oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
the chick is from
a little bit
CW show, basically Superman and Lois.
Yeah, but I mean, not a lot of people.
And the guy was on Teen Wolf, so they are unknown to the, I'm saying, general audience.
Yeah, that's true.
There are these fandoms out there that are like screaming, "We knew these people.
We knew these people." Yeah, I knew them before. That's just trying to the one-up nature of social media. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Where can people find you? Speaking of social media.
Yeah. Well, did we want to say what we're doing? Oh no, join us next week. That's later.
Yeah.
You do that later. Yeah. So I'm supposed to say where. Yeah, you're right. No, we're leaving all of this in. I am at the Michael Nip on X. Also the same if you look me up on Letterboxd. I'm out there that way as well. And more importantly, though, I am on our Discord, which I will let Garrison tell you more about.
You can find me at GRyfin3, GRYFUN3 on Twitter. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfin, which has been awful this weekend, up and down. Not been able to get on it.
Yeah.
Right. The app is the worst of all of those.
Yeah.
You can find us at Cinema Debrief on Twitter. You could find us cinemadebrief@gmail.com if you want to email us and get in the Discord. Discord's a great place to have our little community, insular community of people. We talk about the films we love, and sometimes we don't love them. We have discussions, debates sometimes. It's a fun time. You got guys like Rhett, and you've obviously got Jeremy Burgess on there who has made some films himself. I'm waiting for him to see Obsession. I'll just go ahead and say that. But
I can't believe he hasn't seen it. I understand that he's in a new phase of his life after getting married and becoming a stepdad all at the same time. I get it, but you got to make time for Obsession, dude.
Yeah, come on. Take the kids to go see Obsession.
No, do not take the kids to go see Obsession.
We will see you guys next week for At Close Range and Back Room.